everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on Upfront in the Prophetic. Blessed that you are here. Well, we've got Larry Ballard with us today. Yeah, we kind of went out of sorts. Instead of having him on Monday, we're here on Wednesday, hump day. So, my gosh, a lot of stuff going on. Praise be to God. A lot of good. A lot of good. How about that speech last night, huh? Oh, yeah, I think
Oh,
it. Man, I tell you what, Larry, I'm telling you. Well, before I even say, I'm glad that people are here, and we're doing this together, hand in hand, arm in arm, spirit to spirit. So God's the only way that can, change a thing, and a lot of things are changing. So it's good. We're in good hands, that's for sure. But Larry, hey, it's great having you on.
thank you.
Yeah, I tell
Well,
you, last night I think it was amazing because he showed that authority, right?
mhm.
Pocahontas and I mean, he just really and I tell you, the Democrats really showed who they were.
Yeah,
Absolutely. You have that precious boy and the excitement of them just making him honorary sheriff.
Secret Service agent.
Yes, and oh my gosh, the joy on his face and how he hugged the gentleman and then the other moms, that either lost a husband or children, and they just sat there, Larry.
Yeah,
I was like, what? Don't you have a heart? But they don't. They don't care about America. They don't care about you and I. Absolutely not. All they care about is getting money into their coffers, into their hands. And but they were showing up for who they were last night. That's for
well,
darn sure.
here's my comment.
Okay.
Whether they were extorted into doing that or whether
Okay.
that's their real opinions, I think something different happened that's never happened before.
What's
With
that?
other presidencies, presidents come in and they make their promises and then they turn around and don't fulfill any of them.
Right.
Trump had his first term, where he made America economically have the greatest recovery ever. Now he's doing that same thing on steroids. So these weren't vague promises. These were promises made, promises kept, and a
Yeah.
promise of an even better future. And they stood there and held up their stupid signs saying fake, and they sat
Yeah.
there and tried to disrupt the beginning of the meeting. So here's what I think. I think with the information that's coming out in the next few weeks, America is being woken up. They're
Yeah.
seeing the amount of graft that's going on and how their money is being squandered and how they're being controlled. I think come the midterms, they're done. I think the Democratic Party is done for at least the next 12 years. We have 12 years in which to get our nation back. I think that's how bad what happened last night was. That's just my personal opinion.
Wow. So midterms are what, May?
It's 2 years out. I don't know what when they fall. They're 2 years after,
2 years.
you
Okay.
know,
Okay. Usually, I thought they were in May. So, hey, you know what? A lot's going to change before then. That's for sure. Well, are
yeah.
we ready to jump in?
I'm ready if you're ready. Pop
Okay.
up a slide and let's go.
All righty. Let's go.
So, folks, what I'm doing for the next several weeks, everybody's talking about all the executive orders Trump signing back and forth, but there's something missing.
Hmm.
They're not telling you what Trump's end game is. Trump's end game is to drain the swamp, to take us from globalization to deglobalization, from the central banking system to a decentral banking system, to expose the lies, and to put us in a situation where America is no longer being bled out economically, tap into free energy, get get a new medical system, and with all of that said, then the entire economy of the United States will grow like it's never grown before. There are trillion-dollar investments being made, and with that, America is going to go through a, a period of rejuvenation, the likes of which it's never seen. And then we will be able to reach out and help other nations. First, we have to heal ourselves. So, what I'm going to be doing the next several weeks is giving you sort of the big picture of what all of that is promising for us in the future.
Mm.
So with that, energy is probably energy and finances are the things that control the most in this. They control all the necessities of life, and they are the things that make that chain that economically binds us. So that's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about free energy, and that picture you see up there, that is from the Agenda 2050, where they're promising we're going to solve all the problems of the world, all the social problems, all the economic problems, all the ecological problems. And the truth of it is, which you're going to see in this presentation, every one of those is a lie. It's a distraction to buy time, to make us think they are fixing things while they are willing to take us to the brink of an absolute ecological crisis in order to get us to surrender so they can implement their one world government. We're going to expose every one of those 17 things in the climate change agenda. And before we get into it, let's talk about the first really most important lie. What did they call this in the beginning? Climate change? Was
Oh,
that it?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. No, it was global warming.
Oh, yeah,
And then
that's
they found out that it's not global warming. They found out that that was based on their models. They found out that there's nowhere near the warming that we think. So they
Mhm.
changed the name to climate change. And if we've been following, here's what we find out.
Mhm.
Chemtrails are basically seeding the atmosphere
Right.
to create, oh, monsoons. And we found out, we're going to talk about this in the next couple of weeks in more detail, but we find out that HARP is a weapon of war that we have had an agreement with Russia for not to use as a weapon of war since the 1970s. And we find out, if you do your research, which we're going to talk about in detail next week, that Vietnam, we had a weapon that nobody knew about. It was called HARP, and we activated it, and we created monsoons because in Vietnam, you can't bring in, they use the harbor, the Haiphong Harbor, but what's left when they have to take it inland is the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which is a narrow trail through the jungle. You get monsoons and there's no roads, everything gets bogged down. And they
Sure.
were trying to shut down the supply chain in Vietnam using weather. So when we're having all these weather events where we're having droughts, we're having floods, just look back to what happened in Vietnam and you'll see the playbook is repeating itself. Our climate is being controlled by the global financial elite in order to enslave us.
Wow.
That's what we're going to unfurl here today. So let's go on to the next slide and start digging in.
All right, let's do it.
All right. The Agenda 2050 is just a scam. Free energy is real, and we're going to get it. So let me stop and ask you a question. If we've had it since Nikola Tesla 100 years ago, this is a question to your audience. It can either be just, something that nobody responds to, or you can try to answer it on their part. Well, why am I saying that all of a sudden after 100+ years, we're going to get free energy? Am I just crazy, or is there something I know that says we really are going to get free energy?
Well, I mean, if I again, if I go back to Kim Clement, then he talks about free energy, and I believe that there's a lot of things that have been hidden um, for the elite to be for the elite, but now things are shifting so that we can all enjoy it as well.
Is there anything absolutely tangible that we can point to and say the time has come where not only will we not be denied free energy, but the world absolutely must have it, and in particular, the US must have it? We've been covering it in previous shows, and we're going to cover in a couple of others. So I'm going to break it down for the audience so they know.
Okay.
Basically, China is losing the trade war. They've lost the low end of manufacturing, they've lost the mid range manufacturing, and they're staking their whole future on controlling the high end technology sector of manufacturing. You agree with that?
Yes.
So, what have they been doing? They have come out with a new quantum computer that's a trillion times faster than the fastest supercomputer in the past. They are coming out with flying cars. They're coming out with all kinds of technology, the
Oh,
likes of which you
yeah.
cannot believe. They are in a war against the world to take over the global economic system with technology, which means they are pushing AI, quantum computing, nanotechnology at breakneck speed. Now,
Mm.
what does that mean to us getting these free energy devices? It means that when you do that, and add in the last piece of that, which is a quantum computing system to give us a new financial system with XRP, it means that the energy requirements for the globe, the whole world, is going to double, triple, or quadruple over the next 10 years. Our 100-year-old antiquated grid system couldn't even allow the plugging in of the few EVs that there were in California when they had a heat wave a few years ago. So the whole world is going to have an energy meltdown if we don't give them free energy. We will absolutely get it. It is now mandated. And the Chevron deal is saying that the legal mechanism to provide it is there. We will have it, and it will change the world, and it will solve all of the problems that we face that economically enslave us, that put us in a position where all the necessities of life are held in shortages and denied us. This is a revolutionary tipping moment in the history of the world that is going to change everything and free us. Comments before we go on?
Oh, we're ready for it. Amen to that. A lot of times when the prophetic words come out, God is so divine, but it's like it could be right for that moment or years down the road, and I believe that we're right there.
Yep.
Powerful.
Well, let's go on. So before we really get into the meat, I just want to make sure everybody understands how evil these people are. So I'm going to read this.
Uh-huh.
The most important question in the 21st century economics may well be, here's the quote, what should we do with the superfluous, that's you and me, us useless eaters, people, once we have highly intelligent, non-conscious algorithms that can do almost everything better than us humans? The elite want to exterminate us useless eaters.
Mm.
That's the agenda of the global financial elite. That is what we are about to take away from them. So we
Mm.
go on?
Yeah, before we go on too, I wanted to say, just as you read that, right? And imagine that happen. My gosh, it would be hell on earth because where would the Holy Spirit be? Where would, Jesus be, right? I mean, it would be such a dark place.
Most of us would be dead,
Yeah.
and those that lived would be living in the script from the Hunger Games.
Oh, absolutely. You are right
That's where
about
we'd be.
that. You are right about
All
that.
right. You recognize who that person is in that scribbly looking face?
The Terminator.
That's Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator. And we will exterminate you useless eaters. That's the overarching message of the global financial elite. That represents the swamp that Donald Trump is finally draining so that we can have peace and prosperity
Yeah.
on earth. So
Amen.
let's go on. We've now identified that there are enemies. And
Yes.
now, what's the future look like? The key to peace and prosperity is economic equality. And you
Yes.
can't have economic equality unless you allow third world countries to basically capitalize on their own natural resources. They can't do that without free energy because they don't have the grid. They don't have the infrastructure, but they don't need the grid and they don't need the infrastructure if we have free energy that's coming from the fabric of space that can be tapped into anywhere on the universe. That's what's coming. Energy is the key to equality, peace, and prosperity, and it is right at the door today as we speak.
Mm,
Comments before we go on?
powerful.
And what have we got for a tell? Okay, so Trump knows, he knows more than I know by a long shot. Trump mocks the Green New Deal and basically is doing everything he can. He did what? He backed out of the Paris Treaty Agreement. Right
Yeah.
off that, bam, right off the bat. So he's going to where we're going, and he's mocking the new Green Deal and whatever her name is down there. And he's basically telling us that wind, that solar, that lithium batteries, that nuclear power plants, the coal burning plants, none of them are going to be capable of meeting the energy needs of the future. Plus, they're killing the planet. So energy independence is now on the table. It is a life and death survival issue, and it will be allowed to get out of the box. Pandora's box is open. Free energy will be given us, and it will happen during the term of Donald J. Trump, and the world will begin to change for the better. Comments before we go on, Francine?
Yeah, the light bulb right there just reminds me that they're bringing them back and getting rid of the other ones because the other ones would cause major havoc within your body. So I just saw that they were starting to produce more of those. So praise God.
Yep. All right, let's go on. So this depicts a dying world and a
Mm,
world that's thriving.
mhm.
And let's just break it down, the paradigm shift that sets the world free. So we have to drain the swamp. We have to get out of globalization and go to deglobalization, central banking system to decentral banking system, get rid of the lobbyists who buy power and influence, and get away from fossil fuels and go to clean energy. And that will set the stage for us to have economic freedom and freedom in every aspect of our lives. But it's an emergency. You know why it's an emergency, Francine? Because we could have taken this free energy that we've had for almost 150 years and made seamless transitions. We could have gone from the horseless carriage to free energy and to automobiles that were run without fossil fuels. But now, because of the approximately $10 trillion fossil fuel industry in the grid, it's going to take us possibly 20 years to implement these new technologies. So
Mm,
that's a 20-year horizon before we are fully off the grid.
wow.
And that's 20 years in which we're continuing to kill the planet. That's why this is crucial. Now let's
Oh,
go down to
yeah.
the bottom and see what happens if we can execute free energy quickly. And it can be executed very quickly in, of all things, the third world nations that don't have any infrastructure. So we move from deglobalization, that gives us freedom. We give from decentralization, that gives us prosperity. We move from term limits, where basically they are able to buy the power and influence of the global elite, and that gives us an honest political system. And we move to free energy, and that gives us equality, peace, and prosperity because it allows all nations of the world to have a reasonable standard of living, which ends the justification for wars and breaks the greed cycle.
Mm.
That's where we're going. Comments?
Woo, glory be to God. Come on now. Mm.
The next one's just real simple. This
Yeah.
is what's on the horizon. Over on the left is what the world looks like if we get free energy and clean it up. And over on the right looks like a dying planet. And these people are, they think they're gods. They're willing to take us to the brink of a catastrophic collapse that could literally almost kill this planet and everything on it in order to drive us into total submission.
Yeah.
So now they're being exposed. I think what we saw last night,
Mm.
oh, it really put a death grip on the agenda of the global financial elite.
It
Let's go
sure
on, and
did.
we're gonna understand a little deeper why we're going to get free energy, why they can't hold it back anymore. AI, quantum computers, and blockchain will double or triple the energy demands, like I said before. And with the quantum computer, that thing in the middle is a rocket engine. And normally, I want to give you an idea of how fast things are going to change and how that's going to increase the energy demands. Normally, it would take a team of men probably 2 years to design a rocket engine and bring it to the point that they could successfully test it. With AI and 3D printing, that rocket was designed, 3D printed, and tested successfully in 2 weeks.
Mm. Wow.
2 weeks.
That's
See,
unheard of.
and so basically the whole world is going to go from starvation to energy abundance, and it will have to happen in order to have the economic system the global elite themselves want. And
Mm.
so Nikola Tesla says, and this is true, my Bible says that everything that ever existed has existed. There's nothing new under the sun. God
Mm.
knows everything, knows the end before the beginning. And listen to this. When wireless is fully applied, the earth will be converted into a huge brain capable of response in every one of its parts. God
Wow.
said, if you won't speak up, I'll make a donkey talk. If you won't speak up, I'll make the rocks talk. And every inventor in the world said, the inspiration for my invention came from God, where he says, there is nothing new under the sun. Everything is a circle ending, never beginning. We're about to tap in to the living heartbeat of the world with free energy and with frequency. It's coming. Comments before we go on?
We're good.
Okay, these next two slides are a little complex. So bear with me. And Francine, I want to give you an invitation. I'm going to read them one line at a time. If you think that as I read it, it poses a question you want to ask or a comment you want to make, let's break in as many times as you want to. Okay. I'm going to
Okay.
start over on the right. Ecological issues. So they're claiming in the Jenny 50, 2050 agenda, they're going to solve all of our ecological issues. Reality check. They can't solve any of them with wind, with solar, with lithium, with nuclear power plants, with any of the prevailing energy solutions. But they can solve every one of them with free energy. Free energy means the cost of every consumer we will buy in the world is basically going to be reduced. And it means the pollution can be taken away. It means our recycling issues can be taken away because what's the fundamental problem? It's not that we don't have the technology to clean the air, to clean the water. We have the technology, but it's too expensive. But with free energy, we can clean the air, we can clean the oceans, we can fix the recycling issue. We can fix all of the things that are killing the planet. So I'm just going to read this and stop me anytime you want. So what's coming is AI and quantum computing, and that's the future, and that's going to force access to free energy. And that will double our energy consumption, giving us free energy. Energy sustainability will be achieved, and now it's not. Habitat destruction will be stopped because we will have free energy, and couple that with what? With water from the atmosphere, which we've done shows on, which means the desertification will stop. We get back control of HARP, and we get stop um, um, the chemtrails, and we get back control of the environment, and Earth will start to heal itself, and we will have water security. And around the world, there are nations all over the world where basically people are drinking mud water. I mean, where it's just a real crisis. Carbon is important, but having access to water is basically the lifeblood of the entire world. With free energy, we'll be able to get a totally sustainable water solution from the atmosphere. And what did God say in the Bible? If you look up, He told us that there was water up there, all the water we needed. And so now we're finding the technology to tap it, and that gives us food security. So basically, with free energy, every ecological issue that is killing the planet can be solved. And over on the left, the social issues, well, they're all fixed the second that you drain the swamp and the second that you provide the means to have free energy to basically be able to solve all the issues we're facing. So wars for profit go away because they can't pit us against one another. Oppression and abuse of power goes away because we drain the swamp. Division, censorship, and cancel culture goes away because the swamp's drained. We're changing the education system. Trump's already started on it. We're moving from inequality to equality, and we're getting a wellness system that's coming in with RFK. So instead of poisoning us and making us sick, and then giving us medicines that only mask the symptoms, we're going to fix the problems before they even happen because we're going to go to a wellness-based system that basically gives our bodies the nutrients it needs so we don't get sick in the first place. God designed the planet to thrive, to be healthy, and our bodies to be healthy. They have systematically poisoned us. And we're going to go back. We're getting away from all that DEI stuff and going back to the moral foundation God gave us. When that happens, we're going to get control of our time, and we'll be able to pursue self-actualization and spirituality, and the entire world will have a renaissance economically, morally, and spiritually, and we will have the harvest of souls that God intended. Now, you didn't stop me one time.
No,
Do
I
you
didn't
have
because
any
you
comments?
you were just in a perfect flow. But I mean, this is, God created all this for us to enjoy, and then Satan, with his I, and, the demons falling. And it's just like, oh my gosh, but it's just awesome that he has called us for such a time as this and that we're going to experience all this because that's the biggest thing, that the wars for profit. I mean, there's trying to start something, with, of course, with Russia and Ukraine, and then what oh my gosh, it just
Middle
slipped.
East?
Yes, I mean, it's just like, what in the world? I mean, they're just, th this is how they make their money and it goes right into their pockets, but this is all ending, especially when we have too the whole banking system. You'll be able to tell, they can't launder money anymore. I mean, there'll be accountability. So, it is something to truly look forward to. And, that middle picture saying freedom. And we've been in bondage, and so many of us really haven't known that we've been there. But now you're starting to see, the onion is being peeled, and we're starting to see the chains that we've all been in for so many decades, the beginning of time.
Let's go back to something you said at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
This was what I saw about that speech Trump made last night.
Yes.
We're being told that we're going to get an understanding of all the money laundering and all of the places that they've spent our taxpayer money for things that have harmed us. And they're exposing it in tangible terms. He's reading off a list of all of this money laundering, and the Democrats sit there and they're absolutely mute. They're defending their ability to basically continue to conduct their illicit money laundering schemes that enslave us. They've exposed their cards. I really truly believe they're
I
done.
believe that. Yeah,
So should we
absolutely.
go to the next slide?
Yeah, let's do it.
Now this one's a bit of a repeat of the first, but I didn't put it in there by accident because I might encourage you out there to take a screenshot of this one and to study it and go back and go back to that very first slide or go online and look at the 17 things that are in the 2050 New Green Deal agenda, where they're going to solve all our problems. This is showing you that they cannot solve one of them without free energy. So let's break it down. Our government and the UN obstruct implementation of the solutions to all of the problems on the right-hand side. Partnership to implement, they're keeping us from implementing all the solutions that can fix us, all the free energy, etc. Blind justice. I mean, do we have a cancel
Oh,
culture going on? Oh my goodness. Oh, are you on YouTube right now? Oh no, they won't let you on, will they? Can you speak whatever you want to say? No, they won't let
oh,
you. And health and wellness. So we just found out that the Girl Scout cookies are poison, and
right.
FGR, JF, what's his initials? RFK
Oh, okay.
just
Yeah.
told us, hey, go to your pantry. Here's a whole list of poison foods in your pantry.
Yeah.
So basically, it's all getting exposed.
Yes.
Responsible resource consumption. So what does that mean to me? That means that instead of making products that are designed to have longevity and be non-contaminating, they're giving us foods that are poisoned, products that are poisoned, and products that are designed to have intentional product. What's the word I want? Planned obsolescence. So how can you have planned obsolescence and claim that you're for resource sustainability? It's all a lie, every bit of it. Good jobs. How can we have good jobs when they let millions of immigrants, illegal immigrants, in to basically bring our cost of our wages down? Okay,
Right.
and intentionally imposed
Division.
inequalities
Yeah,
and peace
that's
and
right.
prosperity. None of those things is achievable without free energy and without draining the swamp and getting control of the political system and moving from the pseudo democracy we have
Mm,
back to our original republic, a government of the people, by the people, for the people, which requires an educated public, a moral public, and an informed public willing to vote their conscience. So one of the things that we have to happen to have that come back is we have to have some of that technology that we're talking about that would give us blockchain technology, which instantaneously means we can have fair elections. Let's go to the other side. The key to solving the ecological problem is access to free energy.
mm,
Without that, not one of these things can be addressed.
right.
Address cause of climate change. Well, we need to have free energy, and we need to basically stop them from chemtrails and stop them from causing floods and droughts with HARP. because we have that technology. And with free energy, we can end hunger around the world if we couple it to water from the atmosphere. We absolutely have that technology. I'll give you a stupid example of that. I have a big barn out in front, and I didn't build it, or it wouldn't be like this. But the people who built it didn't put any insulation in the roof. And now I have a renter who has all kinds of expensive equipment in there, and we got a problem. All through this winter, it's cold, and there's humidity in the air. There's more water than you can think of, folks. And so what was happening? It was like it was raining in that barn all winter. We're going to have to insulate it this spring. So what
Wow.
happened is water would condense on this tin ceiling and drop down on this floor. And I go over there every morning, and there'd be puddles everywhere. So
Wow.
we can get free energy, free water from the atmosphere in the deepest, darkest desert in the world.
Mm.
The world, does not have to have the starvation that we have and the water crisis that we have, period. Take free energy, connect it to the simple devices we have, and all they have to do is change the condensation level, and the rivers of water in the atmosphere will be available to us. It's that simple.
Mm.
And the animal habitats will be able to be controlled, because we will be able, for example, instead of encroaching on them. I'm thinking of doing a whole show on this one topic. There is a country in the world, I can't remember its name right now, but they export farm goods, and they do not have a single river in their entire country, and yet they have enough water that they can grow enough food to feed themselves and export. There are deserts around the world, starting with Israel, that are been reclaimed. We can reclaim all the deserts on the world and take the stress off of food shortages, take the stress off of the habitats, and give the world absolute abundance. I'm
Mm.
thinking maybe I might do a whole show on that. I know a fair amount about it. Okay, pollution and free air. What am I trying to say? Pollution-free air, farmland, and animal habitats, and flourishing marine life and habitats. So what are they doing to the oceans? They're telling
Oh,
us they're cleaning them up. And in the next, by 2050, they say unless we do something, there'll be more plastic particles in the ocean than there will be fish. And we're killing the plankton, and that is the life source of the planet, because what? Most of our oxygen is created by plankton in the oceans, and a large portion of the food for the world comes from the oceans. I mean, we've got the ability to solve all these problems. And the infrastructure requirements that we need, there aren't any if we go to free energy. We don't have to be on a grid at all. All we got to do is just integrate free energy and get rid of the grid system that we're on. And sustainable environment, it automatically comes with everything I just said. So that's our future, folks. And all it requires is for us to stand up and demand that we get out from under the swamp, that we drain it, and that we get access to free energy and the things that I've been talking about in this presentation so far. Comments. That's a mouthful. The rest of the slides are simpler. Comments?
no, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. I really encourage people to watch this video. It was done in 2012, and it's simply version one simply said this: God doesn't make mistakes. He designed the planet to thrive and our bodies to thrive. We, if given the right nutrients, are not supposed to be sick. We're supposed to be self-healing. That got so much exposure that it got 94 million views and was
Wow.
redone in 27 different languages. So now what did that result in? This guy's rich. He's a partial heir of the Procter and Gamble dynasty.
Mm.
So people started calling him from all over the world and said, we have health technology that we can tell you about. We have free energy technology that we can tell you about. So he did a movie that just came out more recently called Thrive 2. And he took his money, his wife, and a film crew and vented all kinds of, they had 1,000 responses, invented most of them, remotely through podcasts and stuff. But then he traveled all over the world venting. Do we truly have a new medical solution here? Do we truly have a clean energy solution here? And he found that there are indeed, in fact, cures for cancer, cures for diabetes, cures for almost everything that we have as a medical solution. And I would say He didn't really delve into med beds, but I believe that we have that technology coming as well. So that Thrive 2 basically will show you in tangible terms everything I'm talking about is right on the horizon. It exists, and the time has come where instead of suppressing some 6,000 patents, they are going to let them come out. And furthermore, they're going to embrace them and bring them to market as quickly as they can. Let's go on.
All right.
So
And I put
out
it,
of that,
I actually, Larry, put the clip, um, in the previous interview. So I'll take that and put it again so people could just click
oh,
on it.
okay, all right, good. So
Right.
this is Chickabutu. I
Yep.
love that's a tongue twister of a name. And
Yeah.
of all of those people that were on Thrive 2, this one is the one we should get excited about. This is basically Nikola Tesla's invention. So let me back you up. Elon Musk has been pushing EVs, right?
Yeah.
And he's the largest producer of EVs in the country. And guess what? Toyota is a major investor in Tesla. Did you know that?
No. Mm-mm.
And they invited him to come to Japan to the Toyota facility. And when he came back, this is in our show for next week, he said, lithium based EVs, matter of fact, EVs are dead on arrival.
Yes.
One of the technologies has got out, and it's not even as revolutionary as this one. Toyota is basically announcing a hydrogen car,
Mhm.
and it's not an EV. It is based on hydrogen. So they're saying the EV market's dead. Now, why did they invite him over there? I don't know, but I think there's so much commingling of money between the two that there's
Sure.
some kind of transitional technology that's going to probably exist between them. But this technology, you're still going to have to go to a gas station to get hydrogen. But the difference is that hydrogen, when it's burnt, the byproduct is just clean water. The lithium is dirty, and the mining it poisons our landfills, and the range on it is limited. So hydrogen is a much better offer. But here is the real offer. If he has tapped in to the fabric of the universe and can provide us energy that is perpetual, his claim is that his vehicles require no fuel and no charging ever. So we would have totally free energy. And that car is scheduled to be going to production and come out at $14,000. And that blue box over there you see is an energy generator that can be plopped anywhere in off grid anywhere and supply power to up to 300 homes.
That's amazing.
This is possibly the release of free energy, squeezing it out of the toothpaste tube, never to be put back in. We are on the brink of an absolute technological, marvelous revolution that will free mankind. Let's
Mm.
go on. So there's my toothpaste analogy. If he gets out and Toyota gets out, they're not going to be able to suppress any of those 6,000 patents that are currently suppressed. And we will get innovative revolutions that will blow minds. One of the things that I'm almost certain we're going to get based on the research that I've done is we have and have had for decades anti-gravity devices. So hold buckle on, folks. They're about
Yeah.
to break that dam down, and technology is going to go a leap forward, the likes of which mankind cannot even imagine. Free energy from the unified field is here, and it is totally sustainable. Marry it to devices that give us water from the atmosphere, and all the ecological problems of our whole world are solved instantaneously.
Mm.
Humanity will be on the path to peace, prosperity, and equality and justice for all. Just exactly what God meant, and also for health. Let's
Yes.
go on.
Ooh, glory. Are you looking for a weight and body transformation? Head on over to https:// get skinny with Francine. The link is below. If you need more information, contact me at upfrontandtheprophetic@gmail.com.
We're almost done. So this is just punctuating that all the technologies that pushed at us, wind, solar, oil, fuel, coal plants, and um, what am I trying to say? Nuclear, all are major problems, and they're just a slavery system. And right now, through Chevron, all the suppressed patents are going to go away. And what this is talking about here is an act that was enacted in 1951 that still has some 5,135 energy patents suppressed and marked as national security issues.
Mm.
Bull, you supply the next word. But basically, here's what we're about to find out. They weren't national security issues. They were threatening the financial control of mankind by the global financial elite, and they were protecting their $10 trillion fossil fuel investments. And so those technologies, with the help of corrupt politicians, were kept from humanity in order to keep us in slavery. All of that is about to change. The world is going to be almost unrecognizable. Let's go to the next slide. And this is my first book, and I'm going to make it quick. Basically, before we were looking at things that told us the history of what they've done, but we didn't have the solutions because they wouldn't let us free. So now we need humanity to stand up, and you need a real quick understanding of how we've been controlled. So you can stand up, and if 8 billion of us say no and we're informed, just like what we have to be if we're under a republic, which is a free form of government, this will give you what you need to fight and to join the battle. And this next slide, I'm going to do this quick because I'm saving some up for the end. I just want to make a quick announcement here. I was overwhelmed over the weekend when I went to our website and I found out that we're just a few dollars short of reaching the amount of money that we need to be able to submit the book to the publisher. And then we have 5 months in order to get the balance of the payment. But I think within the next week or so, I'll be able to have enough money to submit it to her and to get basically them to put this book into production. And then we'll have about 5 months. So if everything goes smoothly, this second book should be out probably in August. Let's go on down.
Glory.
And look at this. This is Nikola Tesla. And he's told us from the beginning there's free energy. And here's how it works. Most of you are not going to know who these people are, but now guess what? With those names, you could go on the internet and you can do some searching of your own. Most of you know about Nikola Tesla. Maybe you know now about Maxwell Chickabudu, and maybe you know about a couple of others, Bruce De Palma in there, and a couple of others. But basically, these are all people that had workable free energy solutions, and they were either blackmailed, their patents were secured and basically kept from us, or in extreme cases, they were killed. So you think they haven't done everything they could do? If you have one of those devices, chances are you had men in black show up at your door,
Yeah.
period. And
Mm.
all of these are going to be made available to us in the future, period. Let's go on. I just want you to see the measures to which they go. And pristine earth is possible if we get out from solar, from lithium, from wind, and if we marry free energy with water from the atmosphere, we will be able to solve all of the ecological problems facing the entire planet, and that brings peace and prosperity. We got to fight for it, folks. We got to
That's
fight
right.
for it.
That's right.
Comments before we go on?
Yeah, we do have to fight for it. We've got to continue to be a voice. When we stop, then everything stops. So keep going, guys.
All
Woo!
right, go to the next slide.
Yep.
So, what are the environmental and cost benefits of free energy? There aren't any detriments that I can see, but here's the benefits. 100% non-polluting energy. So if it's that energy from the ether, it's basically just the frequency of the live, living, breathing planet being utilized. And if it's hydrogen, hydrogen just diverts back into water, no pollution whatsoever. It would free mankind from the global elite's slavery system. Given that energy is the greatest cost component of every product you ever buy, we'd have drastic reductions in the cost of everything we buy. And if Donald Trump here in the United States, along with that, gets us from the central banking system to decentralized and closes the Federal Reserve and the IRS, then folks, I'm telling you, the amount of money in your pocket is going to be unbelievable, and we're all going to have a decent standard of living, and it will put all nations on an equal playing field, and the outcome from that has to be peace and prosperity. It would restore the environment and save the planet, but it has to be done now because it's going to take probably 20 years to fully implement these technologies. And while that's happening, we're still continuing to pollute the environment.
Right.
Let's go on.
All right.
And this one is a little again, redundant, but I just want to drive things home. We're at a tipping point, and I've got to drive this into people's minds so they know, number one, and will stand up, number two. Free energy is non-polluting energy. That's no myth. It's there, and it's about to be able to be released to us. So here's what it says. If we stand united and demand free energy, we can have a paradigm shift from lack, hoarding, division, and economic slavery to one of unity, peace, and prosperity. It's now or never, folks, because without free energy, the planet will be dead, and so will we. We're killing the insects. We're poisoning the water and the oceans, and we're basically causing deforestation, and we're causing desertification, and basically we're causing starvation. But we have and have had the answers, but now we have the opportunity to man them and get them. Unless you got comments, let's go to the next one. So this ties into something I kind of alluded to out of order before, and that is that in 1921, Tesla had a Pierce Arrow automobile right back then, right when they were just getting fossil fuel that could run on free energy. And in 1987, another gentleman came out with a device that got energy from the vacuum, and it was a little thing about the size of a pack of cigarettes. And so now we're finding out the internal combustion engine is technology that's 150 years old, and lithium battery is no solution, but the solutions that we need are there and accessible to us. We've been talking about them during this entire show. Let's go on to the next slide. And this one, we're getting close to being finished. I want to punctuate the fact that because we get free energy maybe this year, that doesn't mean the problem is solved. Like I said, we in the industrialized nations, we just can't get rid of a $10 trillion fossil fuel industry. So Trump says, drill, 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 baby, drill. That's for
Yeah.
the short run. That's to give us energy now at an affordable cost. But then what did he also say? We'll have free energy. So
Right.
Trump is going to transition us. And while we're transitioning, third world countries will be able to immediately implement these two technologies when they come out. But even then, it's not instantaneous because you've got the patent, you've got to develop the technology to take it to market, then you've got to develop the technology to take it to scale. So even though we're about to have Pandora's box open, we're still looking at 20 years before we have a really significant impact on the environment. This is a crisis. We're at a tipping point that threatens the ecological balance of the entire world.
Mm.
And the fate of the planet hangs on this moment in time. So, folks, here's what we're looking at. You went to the next slide. How much time do we have? We don't have much. So basically, the places all over the world are having water shortages and deforestation, and they say approximately 80% of the insects in the world have died because of the poisons that we're putting out in the atmosphere. You kill them, you kill the baseline of the food chain, you
Right.
kill the planet, period. So basically, this couldn't be a more important a point in history of mankind. But God is the God who knows the end before the beginning, and he's giving us the solution in time, but giving us the requirement to stand up and to demand it and to basically make the changes that are required to save this planet. He's giving us the ability to do it. Shall we go to the next slide? I
Sure.
never, ever like to end unless we got a smile on our faces. So maybe I scared the blue blank and blazes out of you, but I just love this little girl and lollipops and sunshine. So with free energy, the new keywords will be possible, able, solvable, doable optimism and love and peace and prosperity and a harmony and unity with God. That's the
Amen.
future. Now, let's
Amen.
go to the next slide. And I just want to basically say, hey, like I said, it's a crisis. Get up off of your fanny, get out there, get involved, and demand that these changes be made. Let's go to the next slide. And now I really, I hate to do this, but we're almost halfway, like I said, but we got to get all the way before we can, so we can cross the finish line. So if we get just a few more dollars, I'll be able to submit this to the publisher. And basically, why? Why do I need this help? Because the first book only got out because of the charity of one woman who worked for a publishing company who published it for me. I didn't have the money. I don't ask for money from people normally. I don't have advertisers. God told me, you just don't worry about the money at all. This is all in my hands. You just get the truth out and open the people's eyes. So what we need now is to get this book into the schools, which means it has to be absolutely footed correctly, perfect, so that I can go through the entire vetting process that will get me into the schools so we can get the truth out to the next generation, to the children of the world. So
Amen.
this is our update. We need $13,500. And as of this weekend, the last time I checked, we were almost at 7,000. We're just a short distance away from having the publisher say, give me that down payment. I'll put the book in the queue and you can give me the balance when I got the book done. So we're making progress. Let's go to the next slide. So that's our little piggy bank, and that's the amount of money we had. We were a little bit off on slides. Let's go to the next one. We
That's
only got about two more slides to go, folks. So
oh,
basically, I'm asking you to help me to help your children, help us save children from racial communist ideology. So this book contains history. It contains the Bible. It contains the exposure of the political financial elite, and it gives us all the solutions that we need to reclaim our society. We have to empower our children so that we can get rid of diversity and equity and inclusion, and we can have a focus put on what? On reading, on math, on history, on patriotism, morality, and family. And the despicable thing about it is we spend more money on our education system than any other nation in the world, but it is intentionally meant to produce children that are not able to get a job, that have been basically brainwashed, and we're
right.
40th in the world on our economics, on our educational standards. We need to get the history and the truth of what's been done to us in the hands of our children. So instead of coming out as good little communists, they come out as moral children with the foundation of God and with the political understanding that
Mm.
we are a republic. So I still need your help a little bit. Now, I would encourage you to, if you go to the next slide, to take a snapshot. And basically, I'm not going to go over this because we had it up here last week, but basically, I'm breaking the lies on global the elite's whole agenda, and we're exposing the free energy that's possible, and we're giving you the history of the world, because if you don't know what happened, it basically repeats. So this is the table of contents. Read it and read the description of the book, and I think you'll see that it is a truly revolutionary book. God has been giving me insights for 56 years since I had my near-death experience. And this is what he told me to tell you, to open people's eyes so we can save this planet. So
Amen.
if we go on down, the last slide is real simple. My people perish for lack of knowledge, Hosea 4:6. So please, I'm asking you, help me go fund and help get this message out so we can save our children. So with that, we
Amen.
completed another show. Can you believe it?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that just went by super fast. Super fast.
You got any comments you want to add?
Well, just listening to Trump again last night, and I know we've got emails and texts and everything about how many people were just encouraged of the authority that he carried. It was a lot different, a lot
Mhm.
different. And it was, and the fact that he looked over at the Democratic Party and basically, yeah, uh-huh, and he said we need to basically, and I don't know the word for word, but basically what he said is we need to come together. We need to work together
Mhm.
to make this happen. and there were no claps. There were, I mean, they just sat down with their prune faces, and but what everything he said was just so so powerful, and it just showed the disrespect of that the Democrats had, just the non-caring about people in general. And I hope that those that watched it and that were Democratic, that their eyes were open, to
Mhm,
because most people have a heart, and
mhm.
to see what went on was just like, oh my gosh, yeah. So we're again in exciting times, and we just got to keep on being a voice and forging forward. And I appreciate all that you've been sharing with everybody. I get these calls all the time, Larry, how much they appreciate you and love you. And there's a lot of new people that are hopping on, and they were really, I mean, clueless to speak frankly, and now their eyes are being opened. So, thank you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I
Uh,
want to make one last comment. For the
okay.
last year, I've been trying to bring this knowledge out. But now we finally are to a point, thanks to Donald Trump, where now we can take definitive action and we
Yeah.
can change everything. So
Hmm.
look at those Democrats sitting over there, basically failing to acknowledge all of the graft as he reads off the
Yeah.
huge amounts of money that is used for graft, right? So what we are going to get next is the Epstein files. We're
Right.
going to get the assassinations of Kennedy and Martin Luther King and so forth. And we're going to find out that the FBI and the CIA and our government were behind all of that. And
Absolutely.
hopefully between those two things, we're going to have our eyes wide open and we're going to understand how we've been controlled. So now to add to that, I want to punctuate the severity of the climate change issue and the lies that are around it. And I want to say, folks, it's now or never. This is the moment that change can happen, that we can have that tipping point that takes us from the point of of according to the petroglyphs of the Hopi Indians, we're on two tracks. One is to extinction, and the other is to solve the problems and move on and basically go into an unbelievable future of peace and prosperity on earth. But
Yeah.
it's going to take all of us
Yes.
pushing against the Democrats, against the global financial elite, and simply saying in one unified voice, no more,
Yeah.
no more. We now know what you've done. Our eyes are open. We are many, you are few. Folks, we're going to win. We're going to
Yeah.
win, but we need you to be informed and we need you to stand up and we need you to fight against the oppression that is killing this planet and destroying the family and destroying basically the core of what is human about all of us.
Oh
So
my
with
God.
that,
Absolutely.
I'm done until next week.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you next week as well as our listeners. Thank you so much, Larry. And thank you all for joining us on Upfront in the Prophetic. We bless you. We're hump day. Oh my gosh, tomorrow's Thursday already. And then the weekend again. These days are flying by. So we'll see you soon. Bless you.
Bye bye.